Okay. Have you ever been in a conversation, maybe at work or with friends, even family, and you just feel like you're hitting a wall, like you're not quite connecting?
Yeah, or trying to get an idea across, maybe influence someone, resolve something tricky, and it just doesn't land.
Exactly. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into a book that, and this is kind of amazing, came out almost 90 years ago, but its ideas feel honestly more relevant than ever.
You're talking about Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's the one, published way back in 1936. I mean, think about that. It's a total classic in self-help, consistently gets top ratings, like 55, and people still swear by it.
It's remarkable, truly. And our mission today really is to cut through all that time and pull out the absolute key nuggets of wisdom from this book.
Yeah, the really potent stuff.
We want to show you why these principles aren't just, historical footnotes. They're actual tools you can use right now.
And, okay, super important point right up front. This book is not about manipulation. That's a common misconception.
Right, it really isn't.
Carnegie's whole angle is about learning how to genuinely earn trust, build real respect, and connect with people. Well, sincerely.
Yeah.
It's about authentic relationships, not pulling strings.
Absolutely. Authenticity is key.
So let's unpack this. The core idea. Carnegie's main point is pretty simple, actually.
Mhm.
He says success in life, like happiness, career stuff, leadership, whatever, it mostly boils down to how well we interact with other people, how we influence them.
Yeah, it's foundational.
And what really gets me is how these ideas, written when communication was mostly face-to-face or, letters,
Right, totally different world.
how they still apply so perfectly now to social media, Zoom calls, team projects, even parenting. It's like human nature hasn't really changed.
That's the absolute heart of it. That's the insight. Technology changes, platforms change, but our basic psychological wiring, pretty much the same.
Hmm.
We still need to feel understood. We crave respect. We want to feel important. Carnegie just got that really deeply.
So his advice taps into something fundamental.
Exactly. That's why it's timeless. The methods might look different today, but the why behind human interaction, that's constant. It's why the book's not just surviving, it's thriving.
Okay, so it sounds simple, maybe even obvious when you put it like that, but how does he build on it? Where does he start?
Well, his first section is called Fundamental Techniques in Handling People. And it's really about shifting your mindset first.
Okay, mindset shift.
And the very first principle, right out of the gate, is a tough one for a lot of us.
Uh-oh. Was it?
Don't criticize, condemn, or complain.
Wow. Yeah, okay, that feels hard. Especially today, everything feels geared towards instant judgment, quick reactions.
It is hard because our default can be to point out what's wrong or get defensive ourselves. But Carnegie knew, way before we had all the brain science,
You what?
that criticism triggers a primal defense mechanism. The logical brain just
Yeah.
shuts down. People get defensive. They don't get receptive.
Okay, so criticism leads to resentment, not real change.
Almost always. So the alternative he pushes is empathy. Try, really try, to see it from their side first. Understand before you react.
That's a big ask, but I see the logic. And what's next? After avoiding criticism?
He flips it. He says, give honest and sincere appreciation.
Again, sounds simple, but powerful.
Incredibly powerful. Think about it. How often do we genuinely pause and acknowledge someone's effort? Or a good quality? Or just something they did well?
Probably not often enough.
Right. People are genuinely starved for real appreciation. A simple, specific, heartfelt compliment. It breaks down walls, builds goodwill instantly. It feeds that basic human need to feel valued.
Okay, avoid criticism, give appreciation. What's the third fundamental technique?
Now, this one's maybe the core of influence for Carnegie. Arouse in the other person an eager want.
Arouse an eager want. Okay, unpack that.
This is where it gets really smart, I think. It's about understanding that people are driven by their interests, their desires, not yours.
Right. Self-interest is a powerful motivator.
Totally. So instead of telling people what to do or trying to hard sell your idea, the skill is helping them see how they benefit, how it aligns with what they want.
So it's framing. It's about connecting your goal to their motivation.
Exactly. It's like psychological judo,
Yeah.
using their own momentum. If you can master that shift from pushing your agenda to aligning with theirs, it changes everything in a relationship instantly.
Okay, so that's the foundation. Don't criticize, appreciate sincerely, and frame things around their wants. That makes sense. But then how do you just get people to like you more, generally?
Right, that's part two.
Yeah.
6 ways to make people like you. And yeah, these ones can seem almost basic.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, first one. Become genuinely interested in other people.
Huh. Because everyone's favorite topic is themselves, right?
Pretty much. And it sounds obvious, but how often do we really do it? Ask questions, listen properly.
Good point. What else?
Simple stuff we forget, like smile.
Hmm.
A genuine smile is universal. It disarms people, signals you're open, it builds that subconscious connection.
True. A smile costs nothing.
And then there's remember a person's name. Carnegie called it the sweetest and most important sound in any language to that person.
I've heard that before. Using someone's name, it does make you feel seen, respected.
It absolutely does. Shows you're paying attention, that they matter as an individual.
He also says, be a good listener. But more than just not talking, right?
Oh, much more. It's active listening, empathetic listening, trying to really understand the feelings, the needs behind the words.
Not just waiting for your turn to jump in.
Exactly. And when you truly listen like that, you naturally start doing the next principle, which is talk in terms of the other person's interests, because you actually know what they are.
Ah, it all connects.
It does. And it all ladders up to the big one in this section. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely.
Sincerely. That word keeps coming up.
It's the cornerstone. Because these aren't tricks. They're small, consistent actions that genuinely communicate respect and value. And that's the bedrock of any strong connection, personal or professional.
Okay, so you've built some goodwill. People generally like you. But what about disagreements? How do you win someone over to your idea without starting a fight?
Yeah, that's part 3, how to win people to your way of thinking. And this is where some of the advice feels really counterintuitive.
Oh, like what?
Well, the very first principle is the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it.
Avoid it. But aren't we supposed to stand our ground, win the debate?
Well, that raises the question, what's your actual goal? Is it to win the argument, or is it to actually change someone's mind or find a solution?
Good point. Usually the latter.
And Carnegie's point is that arguments almost never achieve that. They just make people dig in their heels, get defensive, maybe even resentful.
Okay, so if not arguing, then what?
He says, show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, you're wrong.
Ooh, that's a hard one. Never say you're wrong.
It is. But think about how instantly that phrase shuts down conversation. It escalates things. Respecting their right to an opinion, even if you disagree, keeps the door open.
Keeps communication flowing. Okay, what if you were actually wrong?
Then, Carnegie says, admit it quickly and emphatically.
Ah, I like that one. It feels honest and probably quite disarming for the other person.
Totally disarming. It builds trust like crazy. Shows humility. It stops the argument in its tracks.
Makes sense.
And the other principles in this part follow that same theme of collaboration over confrontation. Like, let the other person feel the idea is theirs.
Ah, tapping into that eager want idea again.
Exactly. And try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. And be sympathetic with the other person's ideas and desires. It's not about rolling over. It's about understanding, finding common ground, making sure everyone feels heard.
Building bridges, not walls.
Precisely.
This flows really nicely into the next part, part 4. Be a leader, how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. And this isn't just for CEOs.
Not at all. Anyone influencing others, team leads, parents, coaches, friends.
So how do you change behavior or give feedback without causing that resentment we talked about?
Well, step 1, echoing the earlier principle. Begin with praise and honest appreciation.
Set a positive tone first. Makes sense.
Then, if you need to address a mistake, he advises, call attention to people's mistakes indirectly.
Indirectly, yeah.
Not by making a big public show of it, basically. Don't humiliate them. Maybe talk about it privately or frame it gently.
Yeah.
And even more powerfully,
Yes.
talk about your own mistakes before criticizing others.
Oh, I like that too. Leading with vulnerability shows you're human, you get it.
Exactly. Creates psychological safety. And instead of barking orders,
Yeah. What's the alternative?
ask questions instead of giving direct orders.
So instead of do this, it's more like, what do you think about trying this? Or how could we solve this?
Precisely. It gives them ownership, makes it collaborative, and then, crucially, praise every improvement, even small steps.
Reinforce the positive changes.
Yes. Build momentum. And the final leadership principle kind of sums it all up. Make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest.
Happy about it.
Again, it's about framing, aligning the task with their interests, their goals, their values, so they want to do it. It's not trickery. It's motivation.
Got it. So these leadership principles, they foster buy-in, respect, It's about inspiring, not commanding.
That's the core of it. It creates an environment where people feel valued and motivated to contribute their best. That's real leadership.
Okay, so nearly 100 years later,
Huh.
what's the verdict? Let's talk strengths and weaknesses of this whole approach, this book. The biggest strength has got to be just how timeless it all feels, right?
Absolutely. That's number one. The core principles about human nature just hold up. Whether you're applying them to email, social media, remote teams, family life, it all still works.
And the way he uses stories.
Yes, that's another huge strength. He doesn't just give you rules. He tells memorable stories about Lincoln, about business leaders, about everyday people that illustrate each point. Makes it stick.
Very practical. And language is simple, too. No jargon.
Super accessible. Anyone can pick it up and start using the advice like today.
Yeah.
It's very actionable.
Okay, but what about the downsides? Any limitations?
Well, some people do find it a bit repetitive because he uses multiple stories for each principle.
Right. Driving the point home may be a bit too much for some.
Could be. And, inevitably, some of the examples feel dated. They're from the 1930s, so the cultural context is different.
Yeah, the scenarios might seem old-fashioned, even if the psychology still applies.
Exactly. And the biggest caution, the one we mentioned at the start.
The manipulation thing.
Yeah. If you take these techniques out of context, if you apply them without genuine good intent, yeah, they could seem manipulative or just fall flat.
So sincerity is non-negotiable.
Absolutely non-negotiable. Carnegie stresses it throughout. Authenticity is everything. Without that genuine desire to connect and value others, these are just empty tactics. The spirit you bring to it is just as important as the technique itself.
Got it. So who really needs this deep dive, this book? Who should be paying closest attention?
Well, honestly, almost everyone could benefit, but definitely leaders, managers, anyone trying to improve team dynamics, inspire people.
Okay. Makes sense.
Sales and marketing folks, building rapport, trust. This is gold. Teachers, coaches, motivating people, guiding them. Absolutely.
Students, job seekers, trying to make a good impression.
For sure. And really just anyone who wants to get better at, the human side of life. Better social skills, smoother interactions.
So hopefully this deep dive has given you, our listener, a really solid grasp of these foundational ideas, equipped you for those interactions.
That's the goal. Not just a summary, but an understanding you can use.
So wrapping up this deep dive into how to win friends and influence people really shows it's way more than just some old self-help book. It's a genuine guide to better relationships, better communication.
It really is. It reminds you that success often hinges less on what you know and way more on how you treat people.
Yeah. His warm tone, the stories, it's still incredibly insightful.
There's that saying, right? If you only read one self-help book in your life,
Yeah.
this one. Yeah.
It's often quoted for a reason.
So here's a final thought, a challenge for you listening right now. Just pick one principle we talked about today. Maybe one that surprised you or felt particularly challenging, like avoiding arguments, or maybe remembering to give sincere appreciation, or even just trying to remember names.
Just one.
Yeah, just one. And for next week, make a real conscious effort to apply just that one principle, sincerely. See what happens. What little shifts might occur in your conversations, your relationships, just from that one focused change. Could be interesting.